The PlayStation 2 is now, wait for it, 25 years old. 25! I was only 7 when it first hit the shelves, and when I eventually got my fat PlayStation 2 in 2002, it was just a magical moment for me. Seeing World Rally Championship on my screen for the first time absolutely destroyed my sense of reality. I'd never seen graphics like this before, at least compared to what I was experiencing on the PlayStation beforehand. That sentiment is echoed today as people are now very nostalgic over this incredible machine. It wasn't the most powerful or prettiest console, but the games, the experiences, and the support this device managed to receive made it the console to buy. Also, 160 million units sold still makes the PlayStation 2 the best-selling console of all time. For now. Many of us have our favourite PlayStation 2 titles, but what about the games that saw release in its first year of sale? Not many people seem to bother or recall the PlayStation 2 games from the year 2000. Are they that bad or something? Well, this is Afro's Curiosities, and I aim to find out. I played over 40 titles, all released in the year 2000, to see if any of them are still worth playing today. I will note that most of the games I tried only saw a Japanese release during this year. I used PCSX2 emulation with software rendering mode to give us the most accurate PlayStation 2 graphics possible. I was going to use my slim PlayStation 2 with an SD card mod, but they aren't quite there yet. Maybe one day. By the way, the shop you've been seeing me film in is called Vintage Gamer. It's based in Birmingham, and I often come here to see what games or consoles I can find. If you are around the Birmingham area, I can recommend it easily. Sometimes what comes into the shop can catch your eye. I suggest you grab a snack and drink. You'll be here for a while. Aqua Aqua. Here's a puzzle game that I don't quite understand how to play. I should have looked at the instructions for it. Even so, it's fun, quirky, looks good for the time, and has a chaotic feel which I like. If you want an interesting puzzle game, this title might be worth a look. Armored Core 2. This long-running mech combat series saw its second game hit the PlayStation 2 in 2000. It takes time to get used to, and my god, the game is not easy. It looks good, sounds great, and if you stick with it, the experience is very rewarding. Not bad for a 2000 game. Beatmania II DX Third Style. This long-running rhythm game franchise works best with a turntable. As you can see, I tried to play with my DualSense controller and I failed badly. Outside this, the game had nice music, decent graphics, and quite a variety of modes to do. Can I recommend it? Yes, if you are willing to get a turntable. If you're determined, you can still succeed with a controller, it just won't be easy.
Love or truth, whichever you choose is for me and you. Baby, don't you
Have you ever wanted Mario Paint on the PlayStation 2? Well, here you go. This Japanese exclusive game is just that, and I must say, it looks great for the time. I'm not an artist, and it shows as you can see my amateurish attempts to draw a picture. If you can understand Japanese and you love to make art on your consoles, this could be for you. Blood, the Last Vampire. This is an FMV driven title. It was only released in Japan. The game is based on the film of the same name. Being in Japanese only and having not seen the movie, I have no clue what is happening. The quality of the full motion video looks great, and if you know how to speak or read Japanese, maybe give this interactive movie a chance. Buster Move Dance Summit 2001. The third game in the Buster Move series only saw a release in Japan, and I'm sad it didn't get a Western release. I love the graphics, the gameplay is pretty simple once you understand what's going on, and the music is pretty catchy too. It might not hit the highs of the original Buster Groove, but this PlayStation 2 attempt is better than most rhythm games released for the system. I couldn't stop playing this one, it's a lot of fun. Also, more good news, despite only seeing a Japanese release, most of the game is in English. Cool Borders! Code Alien. Strange name aside, this Japan only release is actually underrated. It feels similar to SSX, and that's a good comparison. Think of Cool Borders 2, only it actually controls well and plays nicely. I'm sad this wasn't given a wider release, especially since the series has a cult following here in Europe. If you happen to love Cool Borders, Code Alien is a must-play.
This will be a prime nose blow. It's not over yet. What was that about?
Dark Cloud. This is a very interesting RPG game. You do the usual dungeon exploring and the like, but you also have city building elements which is similar to ActRaiser for the Super Nintendo. It's a pretty good game and very unique for the time. I would love to jump back in and go further into the story. Dead or Alive 2. This is one of my favourite fighting games ever. It was originally made for the arcade and then ported to the Dreamcast before coming to the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 version looks a little better, has 60 frames per second cutscenes and plays superbly. It's the complete package and one of the best games released in 2000. Sadly, 480p is not supported on the PlayStation 2 version, and the field rendering that it uses instead makes it a bit jaggy looking. Despite the minor problems, the game is still a must-own for the system. Dog of Bay. The game was only released in Japan in 2000, and I can see why. Luckily, in 2023, Hilltop made an English translation patch for it, which I'm using here. The game is a rhythm game where you need to press buttons when these elements start to glow. The longer you let it build, the more points you score. This is difficult to do as the screen goes crazy and the speed of timings only increases as you go through the game. Bizarre is the best way to describe this odd, quirky game. It features dog-like people, some strange drama during cutscenes about the bar they perform in, and well, it has, wait for it, a fantastic soundtrack. It's hard to believe the game's music is this good. I was floored by it. Captivating stuff. You need this on your phone or iPod if you still have one. You won't regret it. Driving Emotion Type S. Squaresoft published this Gran Turismo clone in 2000 for Japan before giving it an update for the 2001 international release. The game was developed by the same people who gave us Racing Lagoon for the Sony PlayStation. Driving Emotion Type S, other than having a silly name, actually hits all the right notes for me. It has good graphics for its time, decent cars to select from, a highly detailed interior camera for all cars, good tracks to race on, and it even has an oddly satisfying soundtrack. If I'm praising this game so much, why was the game given so much negative feedback during its release? I'll tell you, it has the worst handling ever! What were the developers thinking? I cannot explain it other than you attempt to steer, and the game attempts to process your command slowly before finally turning the car, only it's already too late to do said turn. You attempt to counter steer and then you end up just swerving all over the place. A front wheel drive Honda Civic Type R should never be difficult to control, yet this game's handling model has you thinking otherwise. And yes, all the other cars handle the same, if not worse. It's such a shame that the game did not work out as planned. Dynasty Warriors 2. This game marks the beginning of the series being the hack and slash classic we all love to hate. Even though it's mindless fun at times, I do get a satisfying feeling playing it. Come on, who doesn't want to slash into hundreds of enemies and take them all out with ease? The formula would improve with each new game, but make no mistake, Dynasty Warriors 2 is still some fun. It's not a deep experience, but one you should try at least once. Eternal Ring. This is a dungeon crawler RPG game through and through. I don't know, I wasn't keen on this title. I'm not the biggest fan of RPG games as it is, but this one just felt a little bit boring. Hardly anything happened during my playtime. It felt clunky to play too, and the graphics only looked similar to an average Dreamcast game. You might like this game, folks, if you enjoy these types of games. I'll look elsewhere for fun. F1 Championship 2000 season. This is the PlayStation 2 port of the game, which originally was made for the PlayStation. It looks great for its time, has a solid frame rate, and I did enjoy the handling model. The sound effects are a huge letdown though. I hated the sound of the F1 cars and the menu music was so-so. Their PlayStation attempt was better, or at least more effort was put into that version. It's not a bad game, but some aspects are a bit of a letdown considering the power the PlayStation 2 had to offer. Fantavision. I believe this title showed off the particle effects of the PlayStation 2. In this puzzle game, you line up the same coloured orbs at least 3 times in a row to create spectacular fireworks. There's many colour combinations to throw you off, and patience is required as not all orbs will appear at once. The title is fun for a while, but I found it somewhat repetitive after 30 minutes of playing. As a launch title, the game did its job and showed audiences the power of the PlayStation 2.
Two Daisy. Star. 10 chain. 4 chain. 6 chain.
G-Saviour. This Japan-only title was based on the 1999 film of the same name. I had no idea this was part of the Gundam franchise, or that it even had a live-action movie. Goes to show Japan gets all the good stuff. As for the game, it's a pretty standard action game where you go from point A to point B before fighting a boss at the end of each level. The first boss made me laugh because he said this.
All the same, you will never defeat me.
And I beat him by doing this.
This power, impossible. Their suits are way too strong.
The game does look pretty good for its time. I was happy enough with the graphical fidelity, even if the environments were sparse. There is one element the game excels at, and that's the soundtrack. I love the techno beat and the pacing of the music. The composer clearly loved his job and went all out to make the soundtrack as good as possible. He succeeded and then some. I now listen to it on a regular basis since finding it on YouTube. Awesome stuff once again. Gradius 3 and 4. The two arcade games come home to the PlayStation 2 intact. Gradius is a shoot 'em up series made by Konami and is well known for being difficult. Luckily, the port to the PlayStation 2 was handled well and they both play nicely. The only downside is the interlaced video output. I'm not sure why 240p wasn't used or why 480p wasn't an option. Despite this, if you wanted to experience these arcade classics, the PlayStation 2 is a good way to do so.
Speed up, speed up.
Gungriffon Blaze. I loved the first two games for the Sega Saturn and I was looking forward to trying this title. It's a good game once you get used to the controls, and blowing up the environment is satisfying as heck. Being a giant robot is always fun, right? I did end up lost on some levels, but restarting and trying again saw me get success. This was a launch game for the North American market. I only wished it looked a little better for the console. It's still worth playing. Happy Borders in Hokkaido. As you can tell by the title, this only saw a Japanese release. The game is part snowboarding, part role-playing game, and part dating sim. The Japanese text means I had a hard time figuring out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Even so, a nice soundtrack, decent controls, bright colourful graphics, and a unique blend of gameplay styles means the title is worth looking into. I can especially recommend it to those of you who speak or read Japanese. Jet Iron GP. The game was released in 2000 for Japan and in Europe in 2002. This Wipeout or F-Zero clone is pretty underwhelming, to be honest. The graphics are average, the frame rate is just not good enough, and the weapons don't feel that great to use. The handling is also a bit strange, although I got used to it. I was so disappointed by the frame rate, I overclocked the EE cycle rate to 180% using PCSX2. Much better. The game locks to 30 frames per second now. I wonder if the frame rate is also this bad on real PlayStation 2 hardware. Mind you, somehow the music is actually incredible, maybe even better than Wipeout. How do these early PlayStation 2 games have such good music? I guess the budget was reserved for it back then. As for the game, it's not exactly something that I can recommend outside of its fantastic soundtrack. Kessen. We have a real-time strategy game here and I actually enjoyed it. It felt similar to a Total War title, albeit simplified and reworked to suit the DualShock 2 controls. I really enjoyed trying to figure out the best ways to defeat my enemies and watching all the chaos ensue in these real-time cutscenes. The music is once again fantastic. We get a true orchestral experience working perfectly with the game's action and tense moments. Kessen might be dated, but incredibly the designers and developers knew what they were doing. I can recommend this, especially for those of you who love strategy games. love story. We have an interactive 4-motion video game which only saw a Japanese release in 2000. At the time, the game gained some press for featuring this scene between two girls kissing. It was unusual in Japan to see this, I think. The game has you playing as a young man who dies in a motorcycle accident, and you need a girl named Rina to fall in love with you so you can be brought back to life. Storytelling at its finest, naturally. That explains the two ladies kissing, at least. Being that the game is from Japan, I had no clue when to shoot arrows or what the text boxes say. At least the video quality is quite good. Maybe check it out if games like this appeal to you.
ありがとうございます。
リナ、飲んじゃいけない。
Nascar 2001. The turning left simulator is here. I'm being mean, sorry. I do like NASCAR, and this 2000 release for the PlayStation 2 is fun. It has good handling, decent sound effects, a good damage model, and many drivers to pick from. We also have a good number of tracks to race on. If you love NASCAR, NASCAR 2000 for the PlayStation 2 is worth a play. Neo Atlas 3. This Japan-only release was created by the Masters of Weird, Art Dink. If their goal was to freak out the player on the PlayStation 2, they succeeded. The character models just creep me out, honestly. I'm guessing this game is a real-time strategy title centered around the idea of pirates. Being from Japan, I had no clue what to do, and being an Art Dink game, the gameplay didn't look easy to figure out. It's a strange title, as I expected. I'm not disappointed in that aspect. Rayman Revolution. This is the PlayStation 2 port of Rayman 2. I actually rented this in 2002 before getting it a year later. The PlayStation 2 port is good, although it clearly looks like a Dreamcast game, albeit without the 480p VGA mode of that version. It also only runs at 30 frames per second. I was expecting 60, but it runs well enough. I love Rayman 2, and the PlayStation 2 version is not a bad way to experience this 3D platformer. I just wished the sound balance and visual flair was better. Music, sound effects and voices don't blend well together. Still worth a play. RC Revenge Pro. Acclaim was starting to sink at this point, although this average racing game didn't do much to help the situation. Playing as little RC cars is cute and can be fun when done properly. It's just the game doesn't do much to be anything more than average. It also looks like a Dreamcast game, again an average one at that. I guess try it yourself and see if you might enjoy it. Ridge Racer 5. This is a launch game for the PlayStation 2 and it was quite hyped as it succeeded the fantastic Ridge Racer Type 4. The game really uses the power of the PlayStation 2 to produce these flashy and stylish graphics. Namco went in a bold direction for the series, possibly trying to get a new audience captivated by the title. When I first rented it in 2003, I was unimpressed with the gameplay as I felt Namco was putting style over substance. In 2025, my view on the title has changed. I love the fast action, the handling model, and the music is quite interesting as well, although not on the same level as Ridge Racer Type 4. The only downside is the jaggy graphics, which is caused by the early version of the field rendering technique used on the PlayStation 2, which would be improved later. It's still worth a play in 2025. Robot Warlords. This game was released in 2000 for Japan before getting a European release in 2001. As soon as I played it, I was instantly reminded of the Final Mission series from Squaresoft. It's not quite as good as that series and the game is a bit slow to do anything, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think many people know this game exists. We have another turn-based strategy game for the PlayStation 2. This one reminds me of the Super Robot Wars series of games where you have to move units carefully around a big map while trying to outwit your opponents. I didn't get far in this Japan-only title, but it seems up my alley. I just wished the in-game graphics looked a little better.
出撃を行うと船の EN を消費する。次に出撃した機体に攻撃の指示は機体ごとに行う。
Sidewinder MAX. Released in Japan only, this is a combat fight simulator in the vein of Ace Combat, only more focused on the realistic side of combat. The controls are weird to get used to, the graphics are decent, and trying to shoot enemies wasn't so easy. I got there, albeit with a lot of effort. Once again, the shining light of this game is the soundtrack. It took me by complete surprise when I first heard it. "Oh my god, this is awesome!" I yelled when I heard it the first time. You need this on your phone or iPod if you happen to rock one of those. I'm finding a lot of good soundtracks in this video. Silpheed, The Lost Planet. Here's the sequel to Silpheed on the Sega CD. Treasure and Game Arts worked on it and released it in 2000 for Japan. I was expecting greatness, bearing in mind the talent behind this title. I mean, it's fun enough and I do enjoy the sci-fi inspired rock music, but I just didn't find it to be as exceptional as I anticipated. For me personally, you'll play it and enjoy it for a short while before forgetting it completely. I guess not all games can be winners.
No, we can't take high altitude.
Smuggler's Run. I've seen this game countless times in shops and even mentioned when I was younger. You roam a map during various driving missions such as following drug tails, getting contraband delivered, avoiding police, and more. While the game doesn't look impressive, it was surprisingly fun to play. The physics, handling, and brisk pacing makes this an enjoyable package. I enjoy surprise packages, and Smuggler's Run is just that.
You filthy little turd! Thank you kindly, now get lost.
Street Fighter EX3. We have the third and final game in the EX series of Street Fighter games. It was released in 2000 for most, if not all regions. I did enjoy the first two titles on the PlayStation, and this PlayStation 2 version is more of the same. There is more emphasis on team battles for this title, and team changes are important as you play. It looks pretty good, with the particle effects taking center stage and rendering quite beautifully. The general graphics are decent too. Music and sound effects are the standout features. I especially enjoyed the soundtrack. I do love the music made for Street Fighter games that were ported to a CD-based console. EX3 isn't the best Street Fighter game, but if you find it cheap, pick it up.
Tiger Crash! Tiger Shot! Tiger Bro! Hadouken! Hadouken! Hadouken!
Super Buster Move. Not to be confused with the dancing game of the same name, Super Buster Move is a long-running puzzle game series where you match coloured balls to each of the corresponding pieces placed on the grid. Your aim is to get rid of all of them before they touch the bottom of the screen. I'm still not sure what's so super about the title. Even with that confusion, the game looks fantastic with its high quality graphics, and the gameplay is the same addictive puzzle action the series is known for. If you can find it cheap, I recommend it. Surfing H3O. I was excited to play this, especially with Rockstar having been involved in its production. It's a game where you attempt to ride the waves and score points based on how well you do. Despite watching the low quality tutorial showing me how to play, I never once got the hang of it. I couldn't get anything to happen. I don't know, this screams of a dud to me. The graphics also look poor for a PlayStation 2 title. If you want to play this game, proceed with caution.
Go! Wipe out! Ready? Go!
Swing Away Golf. I love a good golf game, and Swing Away Golf promises to achieve this. While the game is fun and looks great for a PlayStation 2 game from 2000, the long loading times, occasional slowdowns, and slightly underwhelming mechanics make it a far cry from the Hot Shots Golf franchise. If you can't get a Hot Shots Golf game, Swing Away Golf is not a bad game and certainly tries to be a little bit different. If you can find it in a bargain bin somewhere, pick it up.
There's some distance left. Well, you can fix that with your next shot. You're off good. Do you think you could give me a little break? Look, look! Was that cool or what?
Tekken Tag Tournament. Finally, a PlayStation 2 launch game that really does the system justice. Tekken has always featured great fighting games, and this spin-off takes the team battle mode and amps up the action. Originally an arcade game, the PlayStation 2 port sees numerous improvements to the gameplay, graphics and soundtrack. All three elements see the PlayStation 2 get utilised properly for the year 2000, and Namco would only go on to make even more graphical improvements for the series in later titles. If you had to pick only one game from the PlayStation 2 releases of 2000, Tekken Tag Tournament is by far the clear winner. The Bouncer. Squaresoft makes another appearance in this list with this beat-em-up title. The Bouncer was widely anticipated when it first launched in 2000. It was meant to be a beat-em-up that combined with RPG elements, hoping to elevate the genre to new heights. While the game is decent, the story makes no sense to me, the gameplay is shallow, and the soundtrack isn't that great. The graphics are the best part of the game, and I can only imagine Square took this element forward when making Final Fantasy X. I adore beat-em-ups, but The Bouncer is only a so-so experience in my opinion. The Mechsmith Run Dim. This is basically a simulation real-time strategy game with robots, and you have to issue commands on the battlefield. This Japan-only release has a lot of text to read, and this hampered me. It looks like a fun and unique game if you know how to read or speak Japanese. Timesplitters. The first Timesplitters game is a bit rough around the edges compared to the second and third game, but for the year 2000, this is a fun new take on the first-person shooter genre. Because I've played the later games first, I did struggle with dealing with enemies, and trying to adjust the controls to better fit my playstyle was also a little bit time-consuming. I enjoyed the graphics, music and gameplay on offer, and the locations were fun to explore. Each is distinctive and memorable to play through with nice level design. A worthwhile game if found cheap. Have you ever heard of Art Truck Battle? Have you wanted it to be more arcadey and crazy? Or did you want Outrun with trucks? Namco has you covered. Information about this game is sparse, especially as it saw a Japanese release only. It turns out this was an arcade game first before getting a port to the PlayStation 2. If you wanted to see what pure insanity looks like in video game form, here it is. You go from point A to B with a time limit ticking down. As you drive, you get other truckers in your way that you have to try and bash, I think. Adding to the madness, the soundtrack. There's a few Japanese enka tracks to choose from, and this combination I always find nothing short of bizarre. I do enjoy listening to the soundtrack though. You have to try this. Even once is enough. There you go folks, over 40 titles for the PlayStation 2 that saw release in 2000. I really enjoyed trying out the games, and I know there's more I missed, including Summoner, which was also a 2000 release. In the future, I can revisit this year and see what else the PlayStation 2 had to offer. Regardless, I hope you saw some games that you'd never heard of before. This channel will always try to bring titles to your attention which were overlooked or deserve a second chance to thrive. I would love to know, did you play any of these games for the PlayStation 2? Did you own the system during the year 2000? What year should I cover next? Tell me in the comments, and I will see you soon.